Hi, I'm Emily Shields.
I'm Carrie Werner.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So, I heard you were recently diagnosed with celiac disease.
It's true.
So, it's an autoimmune disorder.
What's that?
So, an autoimmune disorder is where the body attacks itself. So, when you consume gluten, the gliadin portion is seen as an antigen, and your body produces antibodies to attack it. So, as it's attacking it, it's also damaging the villi on your intestines. So, it's much more difficult for you to absorb nutrients, leading to diarrhea and other nutrient deficiencies.
Okay.
So, gluten is a protein found in wheat, barley, and rye, which you now have a sensitivity to. I have this handout here for you. It's a gluten-free nutrition therapy handout. You probably have a lot of questions of what you can and can't eat now, so we're going to go over that today. Okay, so on this sheet are some examples of foods you can eat, like corn, flax, rice, potatoes.
What is quinoa?
So quinoa is a perfect protein. It has all the essential amino acids you need. It is gluten-free, and it's a good substitution to other whole wheat grain.
Okay.
And then on this next page, it has some examples of foods you can't eat. Wheat, barley, rye, malt, and oats, unless the oats are gluten-free. You just have to make sure they're certified gluten-free.
Okay, that's good to know.
I see you brought your food diary with you here today. I want to talk about it to discuss some options or replacements you could make so your diet is still similar to what you normally eat, but now gluten-free. So what do you normally have for breakfast?
Usually like pancakes or some toast with my eggs.
Okay, so they make gluten-free pancake mix and gluten-free flour if you make your pancakes from scratch. For example, I have some gluten-free flour here. You should definitely look for this and try it. It's made from rice flour, so it says clearly that it's gluten-free. I also have some white rice flour, which you may want to try. And then oatmeal is okay as long as it's certified gluten-free, because it can become contaminated in the process. What do you normally have for lunch?
Usually like a sandwich.
So there's a lot of gluten-free bread options, usually in the frozen aisle of the grocery store. What do you normally eat for dinner?
Usually like some pasta or pizza.
So they make gluten-free pizza dough, which is very similar to regular pizza dough. And then I also have an example of gluten-free spaghetti. This is actually Aldi's gluten-free brand. I don't know if you shop at Aldi's, but there's one here in Greensboro. And they have many gluten-free options that are clearly labeled gluten-free. So you should definitely try that. And then if you like to bake or make brownies or anything, there's lots of gluten-free brownie and cake mixes. I have this other handout for you, the gluten-free diet plate, to just show you how normal your diet can be to what you're eating now. Like fruits is pretty much the same, vegetables is the same. You just want to avoid foods with a lot of sauces because they usually contain gluten. Your milk and dairy is the same, unless you're lactose intolerant, but I don't think you are you?
I'm not.
Okay. And then the biggest difference here will be your breads and cereals, which either need to be gluten-free or just other gluten-free alternatives. And then for your meat and beans section, you want to avoid sandwich meat because it can usually contain gluten just in the processing.
Okay.
Do you ever like to go out to eat?
I do.
So, here in Greensboro, Against the Grain is a great place to go eat because they have many gluten-free options. Whenever you go out to eat, you always want to ask to make sure it's gluten-free. And then the Clieac Disease Foundation website is a great place for tips on going out to eat and what you can and can't eat and other great recipes.
Okay.
I would recommend taking some supplements and multivitamins because until your intestines heal, you're not absorbing nutrients and vitamins as well. So I think that's about it for now. We should talk about your goals for the next visit.
Well, firstly, I'm kind of worried about making sure that everything I eat is gluten-free.
So I would recommend going to the store and writing down or bringing in the labels anything you're unsure of so we can go over it to make sure it's gluten-free. And then you should also keep another food diary so I can check that everything seems to be gluten-free. You really need to read labels because, for example, this spicy peanut vinaigrette, you would think it doesn't contain wheat or gluten, but then you read the label and it says contains wheat, which is gluten.
So how do I know when I'm getting better?
So you should notice improvement in a few weeks. So by your next appointment in 2 weeks, hopefully your symptoms will be improving, and it will take 6 to 18 months for your intestines to completely heal. So on this picture here is a normal villi on the intestine with these normal finger-like projections, but on yours the fingers are just kind of sloughed off. So hopefully if it heals you'll eventually have these villi and will have normal absorptive surfaces again. I recommend after you see me in 2 weeks you also follow up with your physician because they can do an anti-gliadin antibody test, and that should drop if your symptoms are getting better and you're following a gluten-free diet.
Okay.
So I recommend that you tell your family and friends what you're doing so they don't accidentally bring you something containing gluten, and you could try cooking for them because you like to cook, right?
Yeah.
So they might not realize gluten-free can taste so good. Don't worry, I know this is a lot to take in all at once, but we can definitely talk about it next time. Just try to read labels and keep your food diary.
Okay, this is great information. Thanks.
Thanks.